All right, traders. Hey, welcome on back here this Wednesday. It sure feels like a Wednesday this time. Great to have all of us back here this February 11th. Great to have Leda, Michael, Kathleen, Andrea, Chris, got Doug, Mocktail just before. Good evening to her over in the Netherlands. Great to see all of us, though, just joining us, though, back otherwise directly inside our live trading room. We're international. We're all across the world here. It's not just the U.S., not just Canada, too. We probably have about like 15 to 20% students from Canada, but from all over the world, right? We got Roberto in Colombia, we got Dominic in Germany, we got Genevieve, I believe, in Denmark. I got Mocktailed over in the Netherlands. Great to have all of us though here, right? Debbie as well, Uday, Michael, all of us here though collectively. Hey, if you're not here, if you're on the social media side of things, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., just down below at Cyber Trading You. Just with that said, though, make sure to hit the follow and subscribe button there. We have had a great day all together here. If you're just joining us in our room, let's just start off with the SPY. I mean, SPY has just been grinding back on up. Right around 10:30, 11 o'clock, we started to see a decent reversal. Pretty much 10:30, right? A few minutes prior to 10:30 on the gun, reversal time effectively kicked in right at that point. But been building back up since, right? And we've been in a pretty bullish market from last week. I thought there was going to be more slippage there again. We've been hanging on by a thread every time. And well, thankfully, we have the chance to try and break new highs and get up to that 700 level that we've been anticipating and much higher perhaps. But, hopefully we could see more of that uptrend going into the afternoon. Higher lows, perhaps we get a higher high. Now at that though, a couple call outs I was just making a moment ago. Like I said, I was on with one of our students in private coaching, and I'm looking to see this NVIDIA trade break out. This thing has been stubborn as can be today. But hey, with higher lows, with this repetitively testing resistance, and much like we know, at least going into 3 o'clock, certainly 3:30 Eastern time, that is, that's our best time to trade for the afternoon. So I think NVIDIA could be an interesting one to put on our list. Now, just before I was wrapping up a call with my student, and she asked a great question, just like, is it really worth it, NVIDIA? Like, what do you mean? Well, it's pretty expensive. See it go to 192, is it going to go up to like 194, 195? Is it really worth it? It's pretty expensive. Well, you could buy the option on it, but that's not necessarily what we recommend if you're inexperienced with options. If you don't know how to trade options yet, then we would rather you focus on the common stock, but that's where you do have these ETFs. And you have to trade the stock level to at least try and trade the ETF here. But you got NVDX, which is the one I'm in on right now. But NVDL is another one, a little bit more expensive there. But we're probably going to find a few of these trades just scattered across the gainers and losers list in just a moment either way. But we'll come back to the NVIDIA. I'm not going to commit to that just yet for all of us here. Just letting you know, I was following it just before with my student in a private coaching, and breaks higher. I mean, we're looking pretty good then. But let's just go right from top to bottom here, see what we can build for our watch list for the afternoon. Jack this up a little bit. Never know. All right, QVCGP. Try saying that 3 times fast. Is this QVC the company? QVC is like home shopping network type, QVC type thing. Fixed rate, 8% fixed rate. I have no idea what this ticker really is, folks. It's up big today, I guess. Just it flattened out though for a little while. Not really much to it at this point. We'll see what else is out there. Not looking too bad here. MNTM or MNTN. My speech impediment kicking in. This thing had a nice pop in pre-market. I do remember that. I think that we had put this on. No, it wasn't on it was on the morning list. Yeah, Fausto put it on the very back of our morning watch list here. Basically, you kind of call it the B list effectively. But either way, we had an I or two on it, but it just dropped at the open. It started to try and push now into the afternoon. So, got a bit of an open order book, bit of a spread. Be careful there. Traded on smaller size. But with that, though, it is popping going into this time of the day. I do like that. So we'll put it on our list for right now. We'll go with it again. MNTN, better late than never. Stim, popped up before, a little flat right now. If it wants to do something later on, we'll call it out at that point. Ooh, look at this. That's why we got to make room for stocks looking like this here, at least for right now. ASTI, beautiful pop going into this time of the day. Obviously, order book pretty open still. Be careful on that spread still. It's going to move up towards 10 likely. $10, just pretty key resistance level. Looks like it broke higher from yesterday and from like a week or two prior, basically like 850-ish, 840-ish, pretty strong level and broke that top here. So your next, I mean, wick or area, I wouldn't even trust too much of this shit, but really right around like $10, little over. 10 is a psychological level anyways, like a decade level type of deal. But for right now, ASTI, we'll put on our list here, more of a category 3 to 4 type of trade, but definitely sharp move. SanDisk, SNDK is going back up here too. So memory stocks making a big push seemingly. SNDK, new HOD, Micron at the high of the day, Western Digital, I'm sure like a Seagate, not as much, but SNXX. All right, so that's the ETF for like $700 SanDisk. So we'll focus on the SNDX here at least, or SNXX. My apologies. BWA, I'll give this a quick shout out here. This came from out of nowhere and it like pushed like 6-7 points after Fausto had first found it. He was all over this trade. Fausto nailed the call out on this, but it wasn't like it was easy to trade with respect to icebergs. It's just easy to say in hindsight, like, yeah, this was an awesome trend to ride up. And hey, what's also easy to say is for as much as the market, the stock market bottomed out at 10:30 in the morning, well, this pretty much topped off right around that 10:30 in the morning, give or take, 15 minutes. So we were able to ride this out pretty well today, the BWA. It technically is making higher lows from the morning session. I'd rather focus on stocks that have better spreads. Just like this, I'd rather focus on stocks that have better spreads. Let's see, what else we got? QXO. Interesting name. This definitely has a good order book, right? Good order book, huge float. Huge float. Who is this company? QXO? I've never heard of them before. 700 million share float. Crazy chart. Well, I'll tell you what, for such a high float stock, crazy is a good thing. So it's going to have good liquidity. I'm going to add this to our list. This might actually make it towards the top part of our watch list right now. Just an interesting trade. It's tradable. So for that reason, I'm curious. SGML, that's a lithium stock right there. Let me zoom out here on this graph. SGML wasn't doing so bad just up until before here. It shook back down pretty violently. VNet at the high of the day could make room for that. This trade had a nice push before, but unfortunately failed to flip resistance into support. Maybe if it does later, but we're going to put that on our B list for right now, the ACHC. Let's see, as we wrap up the gainer side right now, MSTR is down before, so this was up. I guess it's pulling back now at this point. Ooh, nice trend here. RZLT, good spread, good order book. That checks out. Not the great. It's a crazy chart, and the float's not terrible. So I guess the same rules apply here as is the QXO. But this thing took a huge hit. So I don't trust this stock as far as I could throw it, but it does have some good overall volatility behind it, good liquidity. So we'll put it on our list for now. RZLT. Probably some gold stocks here at the highs. You got NG doing all right today. RIG. This is an oil rigging company. They were in the news a little while back, if I'm not mistaken. I think when Trump was doing his thing with like the deep sea mining, that's what it was. The deep sea mining. I had to break out the Rolodex there for a little bit, but basically when Trump was doing the whole deep sea mining stuff, I think this was one of the big trades back then. And it's going back up for right now. So nice chart. Kindrel Holdings, KD, another nice chart here for right now, like seemingly a Fausto flag that broke to the upside. Oh, we got a fat gap here. Look at this thing. This is a nice gap at least, so that piques my curiosity. You can't trust it as far as you could throw it, but uh, that's a nice gap. So we could be excited by at least filling a fraction of that gap as it's starting to already. Wow, there is a lot to work with here, folks, this afternoon. Yeah, laid a blast from the past, that RIG trade, even before the deep sea mining stuff. I mean, that stock's been moving around for a little while there for us. All right. Trust me, there's a lot more that we could probably get to here that's up percentage wise. I got to run the losers list, though. I mean, there were a couple great shorts earlier. I went break even on the Upstart. I took a loss on you. Good loss of that. This thing pushed right back on up, but I had a good setup on this trade. This U stock was such a nice short early on today. Hey, what time did we see stocks reverse? Right around 10:30. So, ended up bouncing then, but I thought this was going to make a lower high right off this level. A very strong pre-market selling print that kicked in there. So, listen, it held resistance for as long as it could, but if it's not going to make that big move going back down, the sellers aren't going to take full control of this trade from here, then you might see some more short covering. And the stock was down a lot percentage wise. So, it doesn't shock me to at least see this try and make some sort of squeeze. It has some life to it, actually. So I don't mind just kind of putting this back on our list. Perhaps more on the way up now than down. But listen, if it can't try and break out of this here, then you might see one more pullback. But let's see if we can continue to ride this trend up at this point. Mattel. Oof, Mattel Toy Company. This is an ugly chart. Wow, that's a really ugly long-term graph. They talk about AI taking over the world, and a lot of companies, kind of losing value because of AI. I don't know if that's kicking into Mattel Toy Company. That might help them out with production, if anything. But either way, it took a huge hit off of earnings, looking like it's breaking below big support that it was holding over from 22 into 24. It dipped into it here early last year, but that was already a red flag. The fact it's back below it, yeah, this could be a decent short trade. So on the way down, we'll see if we can keep riding this trend down on Mattel. Not as really close to the lows as I'd want to see it, but Lyft definitely at the lows here. I thought there was a chance this could slingshot. I thought they had decent numbers too on the earnings, but market doesn't really care about what Josh Levitan thinks, really. And let's be honest here. It doesn't matter who it is here in our trading room. We got to focus on the chart. That's how we have to react. So, as much as I wanted that slingshot on Lyft, well, if you're not getting that big move up, you're getting a big move just the other way. So it's exactly that. It's a big move going down. It just broke below support of 14, and our next support's not really till 13. So as long as this stays below 14 bucks, there could be a lot more downside here on Lyft. Yeah, I'll add it here. Good trade. I thought there was a case to see lower low on Upstart here. Just didn't have enough juice left in the tank here for the drop. So nuclear, space. A few of these trades trying to make a rebound a little bit. They're tradable. Don't get me wrong. Like if there's a stock that you are very adamant about yourself, if you really are jonesing for like an ONDS and you make money on this stock more often than not, put it on your personal list, right? But I'm going to try and keep things simple here for most of us. And a lot of these trades are starting to bounce. So if I were to put every stock on the watch list looking like this, we'd end up with like 75 stocks on our watch list. So at least for right now, unless if it's really at the lows or down a lot percentage wise, like the U that could bounce sharper, I think we'll hold off. Check out Benzinga, then we'll check out some call outs from students here inside our trading room. Or if you're on social media, all hands on deck. Let me know if there's anything else that I'm missing here. Maybe something popping as I'm going from top to bottom, but stocks like MNTS, it's like kind of low volume here. It's trying to pop a little bit, but the MNTN's already on our list here. We got that one. No need to really change the channel at least from that one. ACHC is trying to go back up. This just popped right now back up to my line. Listen, if it could re-break over this, I think there could be a trade. So kind of coming back to the ACHC, I don't mind kind of giving this a look now. Starting to show some sign of life here. If it could re-break over this and flip it into support, we're onto something. This will pass on. All right. I think that we're pretty much good, though, now at this point. We came back to that trade, so it's looking decent. LAR, not much happening there. PRFX. All right. When I'm getting stocks looking like PRFX, I think that's my cue. From our trading room here, I'll go from top to bottom. Michael on the CIFR. I think he was just talking more to Leda about that. Just a great sideless stock. Great sideless stock. So, this is easily a stock that I'd say, certainly to Michael and Leda, they love this one. Put it on your personal list. Absolutely for yourself there. For APP, you got the APPX. It's down a little bit today. It's kind of moving like the others, making a little bit of a bounce right now. Transocean is the largest deep water oil driller in the world, based in Switzerland and Houston, Texas. Oh, how about that? Michael, you might know something about that maybe. I don't think Michael's from Houston, though. But nonetheless, though, at least, I thought they had to do with the whole deep sea mining stuff. I think I'm right on that. Sam giving more specific intel, at least on who they are. So much appreciated, Sam, as always. Mike saying TDC giving up some of its big gains. Yeah, it's already done, though, for this point. Kind of up and down and definitely flat at this point. All right, folks. So even the NVIDIA for right now, listen, NVIDIA, I didn't really put this on the main list just yet. I'm in the NVDX. I have my stop set. So if it doesn't break higher, I'll likely get stopped out. But it's just I'm going to put this with the rest of the other sideless stocks, right? If the markets move on up higher, I'm sure the whole market is going to make a pretty good upswing. So at least for the time being, I like what we got here. We got mostly longs. We got a couple good shorts to potentially work with. But all in all, let's start and stick with what we got here, folks. And then we'll be back on the mic going into 3 o'clock, shortly after 3:05, or shortly after 3 o'clock, 3:05 Eastern. We'll be back on. And then with that, hey, if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, etc., Barbara, how about this? Maybe near Houston. I'm not as good with my Texas geography, so perhaps Abilene near Houston. So Barbara might be in the know there a little bit with RIG. Appreciate you as always, Barbara, joining us on YouTube as well as Leda simulcasting inside our live trading room as well as on YouTube today. Hey, folks, if you're interested in learning more about what we offer here at Cyber Trading University, join us directly inside our live trading room for a week-long trial. You can go right down to the link scrolling down on the bottom there, ctu.co/trial. If you're more fancy with your phone, with your camera, you could break out your phone camera, scan that QR code right there. Pretty much takes you right to the same link. All right. So we look forward to seeing you there, though, in due time. And we'll be back on for our students and members there in just a bit.